Tonight, another leaked document about refurbishing coal plants. More information on a fatal bear attack in northern Saskatchewan. And another hurdle facing farmers this growing season, the price of fertilizer.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The Saskatchewan NDP are claiming another leaked internal SaskPower memo is showing just how much power rates could increase as the government extends the life of coal-fired power plants. The documents released by the NDP today say the average cost of electricity is projected to be 20% higher in 2030 and 95% higher in 2040 without carbon tax relative to rates in 2025. The memo goes on to say extending the life of coal-fired plants poses medium to extreme risk for grid reliability, Crown finances and regulation adherence. The opposition believes the government has been hiding the true costs of the plan. Minister Jeremy Harrison says they've made a clear $2.6 billion capital commitment over 10 years on the life extension on existing thermal assets.
There is no frame in which it makes sense outside of politics and ideology. When it comes to renewables, again, this is the fastest and most economic way to get more power online quickly in Saskatchewan.
The memo goes on to say SaskPower is hopeful industrial carbon price negotiations between the Saskatchewan and Canadian governments will allow the supply plan to proceed without regulatory violation.
Our all-of-the-above approach to power generation in this province, energy security being the primary objective along with reliability and affordability, using Saskatchewan resources produced by Saskatchewan workers in Saskatchewan facilities, Mr. Speaker, as we bridge to a nuclear future using Saskatchewan.
Now, this afternoon, SaskPower CEO Rupen Pandya released a statement saying, as with any large organization, various scenarios, analysis, and options may be reviewed internally before decisions are made. Those discussions should not be confused with finalized government direction or policy. Public confidence is not surged when confidential internal deliberations are taken out of context. The Ministry of Social Services is being accused of providing inadequate supports for foster families. As Wayne Mantika tells us, the Saskatoon foster family says it's difficult to arrange respite or care, and the ministry is months behind in reimbursing expense claims.
These Saskatoon foster parents say it's very difficult to arrange respite care when they need to take a break.
We do get paid respite days, but there are not people willing to provide the respite. And when we do find people willing, it is significantly underpaid.
The Grey Eyes were at the Legislative Building to explain what foster parents deal with. They also said they can wait up to a year or longer to be reimbursed for out-of-pocket expenses.
When children come into care, there are often costs that are needed, such as clothing, bicycles. A recent one for me, glasses. Not everything was covered when the child's glasses were paid. Because the system takes so long to reimburse, we had to pay the glasses ourselves.
The government said there are 450 foster families in the province, and the ministry works closely with them.
To not only make sure that what is being provided to those foster families is adequate, but improving on those services, Mr. Speaker. I have officials nearby. We will be arranging a meeting with Kate and Bill. Thank you.
The NDP said the words ring hollow.
They refused to give foster families a break, both by allowing the affordability crisis to spiral out of control, but also by refusing to ensure that there is appropriate respite care.
The Ministry of Social Services says it's always looking for ways to make improvements, including faster and easier reimbursement of expenses incurred by foster families. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The 27-year-old man killed by a black bear in northern Saskatchewan has been identified as an independent contractor working at a uranium exploration site. CTV's Laura Woodward has the latest on the investigation and how rare a bear attack is in our province.
We're learning more about the victim in the deadly bear attack in northern Saskatchewan. His name has not been released, but Uranium X Discovery says the 27-year-old man was working as an independent contractor at its Zoo Bay uranium site. The attack happened May 8th in a remote area near the Northwest Territories border. The company has suspended all work at the site while authorities investigate. The company's CEO says, quote, "Our thoughts and deepest condolences go out to the family, friends, and colleagues of the deceased." The Ministry of Community Safety says the black bear was shot and killed by a civilian at the scene and was taken to the University of Saskatchewan's Vet College for a necropsy, which could help investigators determine what happened.
Bear-human conflicts are not particularly random.
Professor Doug Clark says two factors are often linked to dangerous encounters: bears becoming accustomed to people and bears finding human food sources.
And when you've got those two things going on together, food conditioning and habituation, that's when the odds of a conflict between people and bears go way, way up. Black bears, like the other bears that we have in North America, can at times treat people as prey. And those are extremely rare incidents.
He says carrying bear spray is one of the best ways to protect yourself. The last fatal bear attack in Saskatchewan was 6 years ago, and before that in 1983. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon police are looking for a man accused of trying to lure two girls away from their families. This is who police are looking for. On March 7th, before 10 a.m., police say a man approached a 6-year-old girl in the car seat section of a store in East Saskatoon. Police say he motioned for the child to step away from her family and approach him. A second incident was reported on April 9th in southeast Saskatoon. A man believed to be the same person tried to get a 4-year-old girl to approach him. The suspect is believed to be in his 50s. Anyone who knows this person should contact police or Crime Stoppers. Multiple Regina businesses have been the victim of cyber attacks. Both the Artesian and the Exchange experiencing website and ticketing issues due to the attacks this month. The Artesian artistic director, Leah Ernenberg, told CTV News they have switched to a new local web designer, StratLab, after their previous designer, SquareFlow, was hacked. The Exchange, who also uses SquareFlow, were not available for comment before deadline, but their website is currently also displaying technical issues due to the hack. Community members gathered at Victoria Park for the 8th annual Hearts in a Park event. It's organized by the Circle Project as part of Victims and Survivors of Crime Week. The event highlights the importance of support, education, and community in helping prevent crime and stand with those impacted.
So we've brought this project to Regina, and it's been fantastic at gaining awareness through the school system as people are growing up, making sure that they don't become victims themselves, or understanding if they are a victim that they aren't alone.
Organizers hope initiatives like this continue to raise awareness and remind victims help is always available. A grass and brush fire on the Kakawishnaha and Ochapowace First Nations has been contained after an hours-long battle by several fire crews. The Kakawishnaha Fire Department responded to the fire initially about 12:30 p.m. yesterday with a main focus on protecting structures. That kicked off a more than 8-hour fire battle with crews being called in from Cowessess and Whitewood to help. Using ATVs, hand tools, and quick response trucks due to difficult terrain, a dozer and a grader were brought in to push a perimeter, allowing firefighters to contain the fire, preventing the spread into the valley and getting any buildings. Now, something that really helps fires, Sabine, is going to be wind. Now, we're going to see rain coming, but also extreme wind for southern Saskatchewan tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got a number of watches and warnings in effect right now for central and mostly southern Saskatchewan, Lee. And the big one is the wind warning that we've seen. We saw the special weather statements go into effect yesterday. They have now turned to wind warnings. You can see all the purple behind me on the map. Those are wind warnings. Again, we'll see those winds up to about 80 kilometers an hour tonight before transitioning tomorrow to about 70 kilometer an hour sustained winds, gusting up to 110 kilometers an hour. Those winds are expected to stick around for most of the day before they start to diminish in the evening tomorrow. Now, that little corner in the southwest there, we're starting to see some severe thunderstorm watches as well. Just a quick refresh, the yellow warnings or watches usually suggest that the hazardous weather, the damage could be a little bit less severe, whereas the orange, where we're seeing the wind warnings, those are more significant damage, a little higher level of damage there, and expected to last a few days. Temperatures we saw today well above average. That will change as we head into tomorrow as well, but I'll have all the details coming up for you in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thanks, Sabine. Whether it's flooding or dry conditions leading to drought, farmers have felt the wrath of Mother Nature recently. But it's not the only issue they face. There's tariffs, high fuel prices, and the cost of fertilizer. As Damian Smith tells us, fertilizer prices have grown a fair bit since the start of the year.
While Saskatchewan farmers deal with rising fuel prices this seeding season, they're also weighing the cost of fertilizer.
The way we've been able to keep ahead with it is by growing more bushels, being more sustainable. So we might spend more on stuff, but if you do it as efficiently as you can, your cost per unit is actually lower.
Saskatchewan farmers typically use 4 types of fertilizers, and those include nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, as well as potash. Hertz says farming operations like his have seen an estimated 30% cost increase in 2026.
If they pre-price some of the grain right now and then the market drops and they don't get a crop in, oh, they're going to have a problem. Way more risk is attributed to higher costs because you got to somehow make that up.
CropLife Canada says parts of Saskatchewan have been dealing with dry and drought-like conditions for years, but those working in the province have taken advantage of improvements in crop efficiency.
Canadian farmers are very quick to adopt those and always looking for the latest technology that'll give them that little bit of an edge. Pods that don't break open and lose the seed as quickly. There's a ton of innovations that have just been quite transformative.
Patel says another way to cut costs is reducing Canada's reliance on other countries, including conflicts like the war in Iran, by using those kinds of agricultural innovations. Their singular focus right now is creating a regulatory environment for economic growth, with what Patel describes as a receptive government.
Yes, we still want absolutely health and environment protection to be the ultimate goals, but maybe an additional consideration of the economic factors.
We have a lot of regulation, and it's good regulation in general.
Damian Smith, CTV News, RM of Edenwold.
A Saskatoon facility is helping rehabilitate 3 baby owls found near Colville after their parents were discovered dead near the nest. Hallie Mandrick has that story.
Saskatoon's Living Sky Wildlife Rehabilitation is housing 3 very special guests.
They arrived pretty dehydrated and starting to get thin and pretty hungry. I think it had been a while.
These 3 young great horned owls were rescued from a tree after their parents were found dead in the area. While the birds came into the rehabilitation facility in concerning condition, they've quickly started to spread their wings.
These little guys needed a little bit of extra TLC at the beginning. They're doing really well generally at the moment. They're taking food from us. They get their full mice so that they get all that calcium and all the nutrients.
Now, the dedicated staff at LSWR are working towards the goal of eventually releasing the owls back into the wild.
So we make sure that they can hunt. They know what food is. Generally, we do keep them for that first winter. That first winter is really difficult. We don't generally like sending them out and just kind of hoping for the best. We like to give them the best chance, which means their next spring they'll be free to go.
One of the steps the Rehabilitation Center takes towards this goal, ensuring that the human features of the person feeding the birds are completely covered.
And that's just to ensure that they don't associate humans with food. We don't want them approaching people. We want to make sure that they know that food does not come from people.
While the process of rehabilitating wildlife isn't an easy one, staff say it's well worth the many hours.
We are working with that kind of compassion component. Having that option to help something is wonderful.
Anyone who comes across wildlife they believe to be injured, ill, or abandoned is advised to give Living Sky Wildlife Rehabilitation a call. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sodexo workers at 15 Wing Moose Jaw say they were locked out this morning without prior notice. Labor legislation states employers must issue 48 hours notice before implementing a lockout. Workers began rotating strike action yesterday. 55 employees that are members of the Public Service Alliance of Canada Prairie Region working for Sodexo have been in contract negotiations over the past year. These employees include cooks, cleaners, maintenance staff, and general help. They're asking for higher wages and a better benefits package. Cowessess First Nation is calling on Ottawa to honor an existing negotiated land claim settlement. The nation saying it is disappointed in the federal government's delay and political inaction. In a news release, the First Nation says the delay has caused projects to stall, saying the high-value land claim will allow for us to be true partners in economic sovereignty for Cowessess, equal to what the federal government's goal is for Canada. Now, this evening, residents of Cowessess heard from federal NDP leader Avi Lewis.
We do plan to have meetings and conversations with the rest of the communities that are impacted by this particular hang-up. And one of the things that we hoped to kind of do well here is, collect, of course, the advocacy asks from the community and make sure that we understand fully what the communities that are impacted are hoping for.
That was Lewis's chief of staff. Lewis is expected to be in the Fort Capel area on Thursday. Star Blanket, Crane Nation. City of Regina has completed 33 of its 80 actions as part of the city's accessibility plan. At Wednesday's meeting today, the Regina Executive Committee reviewed the short-term actions the city has completed towards making areas more accessible and age-friendly, including transit access, additional snow removal, disability awareness training, and ongoing engagement with the disability community. Another focus of the plan is improving accessibility at city parks and playgrounds.
I think it's important to note it's not always about disabled children. It is also about the caregiver. Grandmas want to go, parents want to take their kids to the park, and if they can't walk on the park, they can't take their kid to the park. And so that's also a big part of it.
By the end of the year, the city expects to have at least 4 playgrounds that match its recent accessibility policies.
Still ahead, is the federal government set to announce a new pipeline deal with Alberta? Plus, Jeremy Hansen and the astronauts of Artemis 2 pay a visit to Ottawa.
Tomorrow.
She was my friend, my confidant, my light.
A deadly drug sold to young people who want to die.
We've seen an increase in the number of cases.
Why, after one seller was put behind bars, people are still dying. W5 investigates tomorrow on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Canada is one step closer to getting a new pipeline that will transport Alberta crude to the West Coast. CTV News has confirmed a major piece of the puzzle has been addressed, but there are still many steps to go. Graham Richardson has the latest.
After years of opposition and protest, pipeline politics are changing. What seemed entirely unlikely just 18 months ago is now one major step closer.
Are you willing to allow a new pipeline?
The Prime Minister not confirming it, but sources telling CTV News his government and Alberta are set to announce a deal on a new pipeline to the West Coast.
I think it's a great thing for the industry, and it's a great thing for Canada.
This is one part of a complex process, and it was telegraphed last week by Alberta Premier Danielle Smith in Ottawa.
Sometimes it happens that you get the two principals in the room and you kind of sort through what some of the disagreements are, and I felt like we sorted through a lot today. Had a meeting of the minds, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to announce an agreement very soon.
A key sticking point was the industrial carbon price rising higher each year. Sources say the Carney Liberals have agreed to slow the growth in the price significantly. Under the plan introduced in 2016, the carbon price was supposed to hit $170 per ton by 2030. Now that will be reduced and only hit $130 a ton by 2040.
Having investment in our own energy sovereignty. And I think in these circumstances, we need to adapt and we need to invest.
Some environmental groups would not openly criticize the shift, but they are clearly disappointed.
We've been suggesting that getting to $130 a ton for the Alberta industrial carbon price by 2030 was a reasonable and effective deadline. Instead, it looks like that's going to happen by 2040, fully a decade later. So that is disappointing.
Of course, hanging over all of this is years of acrimony between Alberta and Ottawa. Will this change all of that? Probably not, but it will be seen as one of the first positive steps in many years. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
An Alberta First Nation is suing the federal and provincial government. The Miskassu Cree First Nation says decades of industrial development have infringed on treaty rights. The lawsuit alleges oil sands industrial development has harmed the environment and has serious health impacts on the community. The First Nation is located on one of the world's largest inland freshwater deltas. It says the lawsuit isn't about targeting single projects. Instead, it's focusing on what it calls a lack of proper management over decades. The chief says the First Nation wants the federal and provincial governments to take accountability and bring in higher water quality standards.
Our treaty rights must be meaningful in practice and not just words on paper. Our people must still be able to hunt, fish, gather, and pass our culture and knowledge on to our children.
Alberta says it is committed to meaningful consultation on projects where treaty rights may be affected, and we take these matters seriously. It declined to offer specifics as the matter is before the courts. The federal government also says it is aware of the lawsuit and cannot comment further at this time. Strong winds are in the forecast for central Alberta, which could mean challenges for crews battling an out-of-control wildfire near Whitecourt. Alberta Wildfire says one house has been destroyed. More than 420 people are waiting to find out when they can return home. Now, some rain is expected today, along with cloud and cooler temperatures, something that could aid in the firefight. But it's those winds tomorrow that could be a game changer.
I think they feel a lot better now that they don't see a large column of smoke at the moment, but just be prepared that that could change at any moment.
We're just going to hope. They've brought in a lot of help, so we're just going to put everything in their hands, right?
Evacuees are being encouraged to go to a reception center in Whitecourt to check in and receive vouchers. Special moment today at the nation's capital as students and the Prime Minister met with the crew of Artemis 2. There were smiles all around and a message about Canada's contribution to space. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more.
We didn't really see this either because this is so cool.
It was a different kind of moon mission in Ottawa today.
I think we saw that crater.
The Artemis 2 crew giving Prime Minister Mark Carney and a group of students special insight into their epic 10-day lunar flyby mission. 12-year-old Louis Castro Lopez among the middle school students who got to ask the astronaut questions.
Yeah, I watched the astronauts and just to come here, like to meet our school was, wow, amazing.
Fellow 7th grader Annabelle Busby Sheridan did too, and she got to hold a piece of meteorite from the moon.
It was such a privilege. Like, I never thought, ever that I'd ever be able to meet them.
Splashdown confirmed.
The visit to the capital comes just over 1 month after the 4-person crew splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean.
We surpassed the furthest distance humans have ever traveled.
Following a groundbreaking mission to the far side of the moon that captured the world's attention. Canadian Jeremy Hansen getting a special thank you from Carney.
This is the flag that flew on the day you splashed down.
Oh, wow.
Hansen's trip into outer space was his first, and it was also the furthest any Canadian astronaut has ever traveled.
Canada very much went to space, and I rode on your shoulders.
That Canadian pride on full display at each stop in the capital, where fans, young and old, were inspired to reach new heights.
I want to be the first man, and if it's possible, to walk on Mars.
The Artemis 2 crew will now head to Montreal, where the astronauts will share more about their thoughts on the mission at the Canadian Space Centre tomorrow. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
U.S. President Donald Trump has arrived in Beijing for a 2-day summit with his Chinese counterpart. Trump received a lavish welcome on the first visit by an American president to the country in nearly a decade. He is expected to ask Xi Jinping to open up China to U.S. businesses. A number of American CEOs are also on the trip. Trump and Xi will also discuss trade, the Iran war, and U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, the democratically governed island claimed by China. In Ukraine, 6 people were killed when Russia launched at least 800 drones today. Dozens were also injured across the country in what the Ukrainian president says was one of the longest and largest attacks of the war. Ukraine's military intelligence says the attacks are designed to overwhelm its air defenses. Moscow's targets included western regions closest to the border with NATO countries. Poland activated its air defenses and scrambled fighter jets as a preventative measure, but says there was no violation of its airspace. And gunfire erupted in the Philippine Senate today as authorities tried to arrest the senator who was wanted by the International Criminal Court. Senator Ronald De La Rosa is wanted on a charge of crime against humanity. He's accused of killing dozens of people as a police chief during former President Rodrigo Duterte's deadly war on drugs. It was not immediately clear who fired the shots today. De La Rosa was apparently taken to a different part of the building before shots rang out and is staying there under the protection of allied senators. Coming up, a slow start for the tourist season at Waskesiu as signs of winter remain.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Affinity Credit Union. We can pay your bills with a massive $20,000. You got your daily code word. Watch and win with Your Morning.
All right, welcome back. We're going to get right into what's to come when it comes to weather. And we have some severe warnings in place right now for many parts of southern Saskatchewan. If we get to what we're sitting at right now in Regina, currently sitting at 27 with the winds just under 45 kilometers an hour, still gusting closer to about 60 kilometers an hour. And that's just the beginning. As we head into tonight, we'll continue to see those winds pick up before they really hit some very high wind speeds tomorrow. We did warm up to about 28 degrees, so still sitting at a warm temperature right now. We're going to still see above average lows for tonight as well. But as you can see on the radar satellite, we still have those warnings in place. So all the purple are the wind warnings, the orange level, so could have a more severe impact when it comes to damage or how long it's sticking around for, at least a day, if not a little longer than that. In the southwest, we can already see on the radar satellite what we already have. Now, as just after 6 o'clock, Environment and Climate Change Canada have been tracking this storm officially now in Saskatchewan, just about 30 kilometers south of Cypress Hills Provincial Park. So that system is actually moving quicker than it was originally reported. It's now moving northeast at 80 kilometers an hour. So many areas that were under those severe thunderstorm watches will most likely turn to warnings. As we continue into the overnight, we're going to see this system sticking around in the southwest before it starts to move in to south central Saskatchewan into tomorrow afternoon. So we're expecting to see rain right across the province tomorrow. Most of that heavier rainfall is expected in the west, but Midwest could see some heavy rainfall as well. Now, there are places that are seeing some rainfall warnings as well. I'll talk about that in a second, but I do want to point out we do have snow expected for parts of Saskatchewan by Friday. It may lean towards most of the wet snow just because those temperatures are still expecting to be above zero, close to about 10, 11 degrees for some parts of the area where we're expecting to see snow, like Saskatoon. So temperatures could make an effect on what we're seeing precipitation-wise, but we're going to continue to see more rain coming into southern Saskatchewan Friday as well. It's not until we get into Saturday we should start to see most of that precipitation start to break up and leaving us with cloudier conditions and cooler temperatures. This is a quick look at what we're expecting for rainfall total-wise between now and to Thursday afternoon. About 19 millimeters expected for Maple Creek. Heavier in the Kindersley area, about 22 millimeters. Over in the southeast, Regina could see up to about 2 millimeters, but that's still Thursday late afternoon. We're going to continue to see that rain throughout Thursday into Friday morning. So by Friday morning, up to about 6 millimeters expected for Regina. Trace amounts for the southeast there, Estevan, but again, continuing to see heavier rainfall into Kindersley, North Battleford, up to the Larange area, close to 30 millimeters of rain, which is what the warning is suggesting at this time. But you can see by Friday evening, we'll still see more of that rain continuing into those areas that are under those rainfall warnings. And then the temperatures, I know it's May long weekend, the temperatures are going to be cooler than what we would like to see them. And again, we're going to see rain continuing throughout the weekend as well. Tomorrow, temperatures still within seasonal range, 17 in rain for Prince Albert, 13 in rain for Lloydminster, 14 in rain expected for North Battleford and Saskatoon, 19 in rain for Yorkton, 18 in rain for Maple Creek, 17 in rain for Swift Current, Moose Jaw, 14 in rain. In the southeast, same story, except for Estevan. Like we already saw on that map, not expecting too much rain-wise, but 18 is the expected high. 16 in rain expected for Assiniboine and Weyburn. If we take a closer look at Regina tonight, winds picking up to 70 kilometers an hour, cloudy, 13, and tomorrow 16 is the expected high, with the winds up to about 80, but now just taking a look at the updated information, it could be closer to about 90 kilometers an hour at times tomorrow. So something to keep in mind there. But again, the wind gusts could be over 100 kilometers as well. And here's a quick look at your next 7 days. Not the greatest, but not the worst. 16 tomorrow, 11 and mostly sunny Friday. Winds still high up to 65 kilometers an hour. Rain returning on Sunday. And then we're back into seasonal range by Wednesday. So a cooler couple days ahead, especially for anyone who may have thought camping could have been in your May long weekend. Maybe think again.
May long weekend always disappoints anyway.
Yeah, but tomorrow, be safe.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sabine.
You bet.
Now, the May long weekend, yeah, right around the corner. Usually the lakes at Prince Albert National Park are a pretty popular choice, but as Jasmine Pelche tells us, officials at Waskesiu expecting a delay to tourist season as the lakes are still frozen over.
Green is normally the color here, but right now there is still snow on the fairways.
Our crew is out there working as hard as they can to prepare what they can for the golf course, but again, it sets us back 2 weeks in just conditions alone.
At the Waskesiu Golf Course, General Manager Tyler Baker says the team is working hard to get the course ready, despite the snow and mud.
We would probably put through a good 700 rounds of golf during the long weekend. So, you know, and there's some members that are mixed in with that. So it's, you know, the revenue is a good bump for the start of the year, which unfortunately we'll miss out on.
Baker says he's never seen so much snow on the course this late in the year. But despite the setback, he's optimistic the course will have a successful season overall.
It's a slow start to business season in Waskesiu, with ice still covering the lake heading into the May long weekend. Businesses say that spring melt this year is a couple weeks later than usual.
It's a few days until May long weekend, when the marina usually sees more than 100 guests. But it sits empty, the lake still covered in a layer of ice. Typically, there would already be dozens of boats parked at the marina waiting for summer. Although the ice has stuck around since winter, visitors are asked not to try their hand at ice fishing.
Thin ice still exists on a lot of the water bodies in Prince Albert National Park, and while people might think it's a funny idea to go out ice fishing on the lake for May long weekend, the ice is very thin and very dangerous.
Parks Canada says visitors should be prepared for snow, mud, and puddles around the town site. The water at Beaver Glen Campground is under a temporary boil advisory, and Sandy Lake Campground is closed for the time being. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Waskesiu.
Still ahead, the Saskatchewan Roughriders make training camp cuts. One of them, an American kicker who played for them last season.
Saskatchewan Roughriders have signed their first-round pick in this year's draft, defensive back Malcolm Bell. They had to wait to sign him. He was attending Cleveland Browns rookie mini camp after the draft. He started 11 games with the Michigan State Spartans last season, posting 49 tackles, 5 for a loss, 6 pass breakups, and a quarterback sack. It's likely he will be the next in line behind current Canadian starter at corner Tavon Campbell, or that's what the Riders are hoping anyway.
No mistake there.
Kicker Michael Hughes was one of 11 cuts announced today by the Riders. Hughes played in one game last year, going 2 for 2 on field goal attempts. That leaves American kicker Jonathan Kim and global player Alex Hale battling for that kicking role. Others cut on offense, former NFL running back Darrell Henderson Jr. That leaves veterans A.J. Ouellette and Mario Anderson Jr. as the only American running backs in camp. Receivers Ali Jennings III, Juwan Winfrey, quarterback Jordan McLeod, and lineman Joseph Carter and national product Dayton Black. Defensively, global defensive linemen Sylvain Yodiud and Thor Griffith. I know people were hoping they would love to see Thor there, but not the case. Linebacker Demoy Kennedy and defensive back Nafis Leon. DB Jerry Jacobs, not cut, but technically he's gone because he's moved to the retired list. Prince Albert Raiders find themselves behind in the WHL Championship Series after falling at home last night 3-2 to Everett.
Carter Bear across the blue line for Liskey on the left. He'll fire blocking away. Rebound scores. Julius Mietnin.
Mietnin's 13 to the postseason, a game winner late in the third as the Silvertips take a 2-1 series lead. Great game for Michael Orsolak despite the loss. He made 41 saves in net for Prince Albert. Raiders defenseman Daxon Rudolph will return to the lineup tonight after serving a 1-game suspension for a cross-check in Game 2. Game 4 goes tonight at the Art Hauser Center, 7:30 p.m. You can watch it on TSN and Victory Plus.
Shot, final 30 seconds of play. Bruce from the point. Wintle the save, and they score on the rebound. It's Ewan.
The Flin Flon Bombers face another must-win at the Centennial Cup. They are on the ice right now versus Truro. Anything other than a regulation win would eliminate them. And last time I checked, good news, they're up 3-0 in the third. The SJHL champion has made the final of this event for the past 3 years. Melfort in 24 and 25, Battleford's in 23, but SJHL champion hasn't won it since Yorkton when it was the RBC Cup in 2014.
Still ahead, a Saskatchewan teen has created a mobile tornado warning siren.
All right, let's get back into your weather. Talking about rural forecast for tomorrow. Same story. We're going to see quite a bit of rain right across Saskatchewan tomorrow. Temperatures, though, starting out the day, still looking quite warm and above seasonal for some areas. Hudson Bay, 20 degrees tomorrow. 18 for Melfort and rain. 17 for Wynyard, with a little bit of sunshine to start the day before that rain moves in. Again, the system's coming from the west, so we won't start to see that rain in central and eastern Saskatchewan until later in the day. Over in Lloydminster, 13 in rain. 14 in rain for Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, Watrous, and Outlook. 15 in rain for Kindersley, and cloudy and 18 degrees for Melfort. Closer to the southern border, same story. 18 in rain for Leader and Maple Creek. 13 in rain for Rosetown. 15 in rain for Assiniboia. I sound like a broken record. 16 in rain for East End, Cypress, Rockglen, Lumsden, Pilot Butte, and a little bit of sunshine to start the day for areas like Kenora and Broadview, Carlisle, all expecting to see rain, but temperature still for the daytime highs anyway, getting into the high teens. And for Nacum, tomorrow 19 is the expected daytime high. Winds still expected to be gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour, not under a wind warning for tomorrow. However, could see up to about 10 millimeters of rain throughout the day.
A Saskatoon woman will receive the Order of Canada this week.
My Cree name, loosely translated into English, is Sky Dancer. And I won't go into
Louise Bernice Half, originally from the Saddle Lake Cree Nation, Alberta, graduated with a Bachelor of Social Work from the University of Regina before serving as Saskatchewan's Poet Laureate in 2005. She has also served as an elder and knowledge keeper for the University of Saskatchewan and the Saskatchewan Health Authority. She is a published author and a recipient of many awards throughout the years. The Order of Merit will be awarded on Friday morning in Ottawa. A young Saskatchewan storm chaser has invented a new tool to help protect his community. The teen has created a mobile tornado siren to sound the alarm before severe weather strikes. Alison Bamford has more.
A loud warning projected across this quiet prairie town, telling the residents of Cutknife, Saskatchewan, a tornado is coming.
If you hear it, get to shelter.
Grade 12 student Aaron Rutley has been chasing storms ever since he could drive.
It is a very dangerous hobby.
He's behind the wheel of the mobile tornado siren, inspired by storm sirens in the United States and his own experience chasing tornadoes.
So I thought, let's mount the siren onto the truck itself, chase the tornado, confirm it on the ground, and then issue our own warnings as a little bit of a backup to the already Environment Canada alerts.
It's a passion project he shares with his friend Logan Weikley.
I'm the navigator, so I'm searching for roads and finding out which way the storm is going.
So far, no tornadoes have been reported in Saskatchewan this year, and there's no threat of any right now. This is just a test run for Rutley to work out all the kinks.
We got to know if our routes that we have planned right now are actually going to be able to be heard throughout the entire town itself.
Very few places in Canada have tornado alarms. Western University campus is one of them. Dave Sills of the Northern Tornadoes Project says it can help fill gaps in the warning system.
Well, not everybody has a cell phone, and not everybody has their cell phone on them all the time. And certainly it's just one more way to make sure people are aware that something big is happening.
For now, Rutley's siren can only operate in Cutknife under town council approval. He hopes one day he can expand the project, but until then, he's focusing on the small victories.
I'm very glad that we're finally actually testing it, and now it's coming to fruition.
Making his community a little safer. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Cutknife, Saskatchewan.
All right, so let's take a look at the canola street price. It's down $7 at $694.83 per ton. The futures price down $5.50 at $747.80 per ton. Amber durum wheat, it is $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat's down $3.44 to $307.70 per ton. Feed barley stays the same, $250.88 per ton, and flax is $630.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge and ICE Futures Canada. Stock markets, the TSX down 249 points, the Dow Jones down by 67 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went up 0.04% to 72.96 cents US. Don't have a gas board, but we can tell you that Minnesota's up 3-0 in Colorado in NHL. As for commodities, gold down $26.37. West Texas Intermediate crude down $1.16, and Western Canadian Select crude up $3.61.
Equinox Gold is buying Orla Mining in a cash and stock deal worth just over $5 billion US. Combined, the new entity would be the second largest Canadian gold producer, with 6 mines across Canada, the U.S., Nicaragua, and Mexico. Together, they would produce more than 1 million ounces of gold a year. But the CEO of Equinox says he aims to double output. Shareholders will vote on that deal in July. Algoma Steel is shipping less than half of what it used to ship across the border. Still, American tariffs have cost it more than $27 million in its latest quarter. Algoma reported a net loss of about $160 million in that period. The CEO says the company is working on becoming a Canadian supplier of steel. More Canadians filed for insolvency in the first 3 months of 2026 than in any other quarter since 2009. Experts say Canadians are carrying record debt, and rising energy and food prices puts them in a tighter squeeze. The biggest increase in filings was in Ontario. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up tonight, MasterChef at 7, followed by The Floor at 8 o'clock. Celebrity Jeopardy at 9. Only One Big Bang Theory. Sabine wins tonight.
Yep.
And E-Talk at 10:30. Well, the winners have been announced in the RCMP's Name the Puppy contest.
That's right. The 13 puppies were born at the Police Dog Services Training Center. Kids from across the country, ages 4 to 14, were asked to name them, starting with the letter B. Saskatchewan's winner was Caden Farrell with the name Bolt. Other names included Bandit, Blitz, and Briar. RCMP received more than 14,000 online entries. Those are good names.
Those are good names. What would you have named it? B.
I mean, Bolt is a good one. Blade, is that dangerous?
There might have been a Blade or Barnaby.
Oh.
Bigglesworth.
Here we go. We're going sideways.
Okay. Go get him, Bigglesworth.
Okay, staying on the theme of dogs.
Okay.
One pet owner's dog is channeling his inner Michael Jackson with some moves reminiscent of the iconic pop artist.
The dog can be seen dancing to Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. Oh, you dropped the hat. You know what? You got to put that back on.
Oh!
Yeah. And you see the hat falling, picks it up. It's back on. He is a smooth criminal indeed as he makes his smooth moves.
I mean, that's a good move. I was expecting, I'm going to be honest, I was expecting a moonwalk, but that's just as good. That's skills.
No dog can move. Well, Bigglesworth. He can moonwalk.
No Bigglesworth.